What I'm working on is a Craftsman Briggs powered lawnmower here. What had happened is, it's given to me, it says it does not start. I pulled a spark plug out and I was checking for spark there, and I noticed there was no puffs of air coming out. When I pulled it over, I had the bail tied down and pulled it over, and I put a compression tester on there and there is zero compression. Okay, on this model here there's two screws that stop cover come off. There's a bolt with a collar on that holds the fuel tank on down here, and then there's three bolts that'll take the fuel tank off, and then there's two bolts here and then two on the back and the oil dipstick, and then you can take off your recoil housing. All those bolts taken out, you can just pull that off. On the very front of the engine, we'll take and remove all these head bolts here. We'll end up loosening that one, and then that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Now with all those bolts removed, we'll take the head off here, see what we got. I'm going to say, upon looking at this gasket here, that it blew the head gasket out. So I'm going to go and put a different head gasket on there and see if we have compression. To get the right head gasket for this, on the recoil housing cover, there's this metal tab here, and that will have your model number and then the serial number. You'll need to look that up and get the right part. Okay, obviously the head gasket is bad. You can see how black it is all over. The other issue is it had very little compression, so when I went and rotated this around, the valve here coming up now, you can spin this valve here. This is the exhaust valve, and that should be sealing very, very tight, and that's why we didn't have any compression there. It may be the camshaft is off a little bit, or what you can do is take and grind the valve a little bit shorter. You would have to take the valve out, and that's what I'm going to do to make sure that it is completely sealing. Okay, there's a cover behind this muffler here that you can access the valve springs, and we'll just take the muffler off here. Have these locking tabs here. We'll just bend those back and remove the muffler. Okay, I'm going to take a little brake clean here and just clean up that breather. Wear some eye protection while doing this, and then I'll remove that, and then we'll access the springs there. Okay, so if you have a valve spring compressor, you can put that in there. I don't happen to have one, so I'm just using a panel removing tool and the pliers here. We'll go ahead, press that spring, and then take the little keeper off the back here of the valve. With that little keeper off the back, we can go and pull the exhaust valve all the way out, and then we can remove that spring. Get our little keeper out of there. Just simply slides over the end and then on there, and that's what locks the spring on. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and touch that end to the grinder, and then it'll be a little bit shorter, and then we'll reinstall it. Okay, I'm going to wear some eye protection here. Just take and grind a little bit off the edge on the end. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take where the valve seats here, I'm going to take some 800 wet dry sandpaper and just clean that area up a little bit, as well as I'm going to take the back of the valve here and go ahead and clean that up. Okay, just cleaned the carbon off the back there as well as there, and now we can fit it in here, rotate our cylinder around and make sure that's in there nice and tight so it's not moving at all. Okay, so I'm satisfied that it's not being pushed open when we don't want it to be, and when it closes it's still in there pretty tight. So I'll go ahead and put our spring on there and our locking clip. Okay, I got that valve locked in there. I'm pretty happy with how it's sealing here. So we'll go ahead and just a little bit of looseness there, but I don't want to grind too much off the end there. So now what I'm going to do, just take a little wire wheel and some brake clean, and by hand just clean up the surface here on the engine, and I'm going to do it on the head as well. Okay, pretty pleased with how much carbon I got off of there. Everything looks pretty good. Same with the head here. Now we'll go ahead and put our little breather back on the side there. Okay, it's time to put the muffler back on. We'll go bolt this muffler on there. And then pound those tabs over so the bolts don't back out. Okay, got a new head gasket here. So what we're going to do is we'll put a couple head bolts in the head there, place our gasket over the top, and when we bolt it to the engine here, we're going to want to go in a cross pattern, and we're going to put these down snug, and then about 1/4 turn more, going from here to here to here to here, here to here, and then after we run it for a little bit, we'll go and we'll check to make sure it's tight. Okay, I have our compression tester hooked up here. I'm still waiting on another part for this, so I'm not going to put it all together. I'm just going to take a drill here with a 15/16 socket and spin the engine over and check our compression there. I'll go ahead and put our spark plug in. Next we'll have our spark plug wire go down there. We'll go and put our recoil housing on and put our 4 bolts in there, the 2 here and then 2 in the back. We'll put our oil dipstick in there and put one of our little screws in there and tighten that down. Next we'll take our fuel tank here. We'll attach your fuel line if you disconnected that, and we'll put our 3 screws for that in there. Okay, now on the side of our fuel tank we have that spacer and that bolt. Hopefully my hand won't be in the way too much. Slide that spacer in there and place our bolt in there. Tighten that up. Last we'll put our little cover on there and put our two screws in there, and we're all done.